Okay, so I don't even know where to start. I'm not very good at narrating stories like this because it breaks my heart, but I think we're going to talk heart to heart because that's the only way to do it. So there is a story in America right now about an African-American lady that's been, I'm not going to say the word because we're going to be sanctioned. Unfortunately, we're going to be blocked from YouTube for some purposes. I don't know why when we talk about things that concern us, things that are deep, they don't like it. I'm sorry, but that's the reality of it. I don't know if they try to do that to discourage people from expressing themselves in a way that's really suitable for the people, but I don't know. Okay, anyway, we all seen the video where the young African-American, she was a mother of two, 36 years old. I'm not going to say her name. You know her name. She was finished by the police because she called. So let me try to relate to the story so we can understand. So basically, what happened was this young African-American woman, relatively young, called on the police on the phone asking for help because she felt like somebody, maybe an intruder, was in her house. Okay, somebody who was not supposed to be there was somewhere around the house. So she called the police to come and check and make sure that everything was good and reassure her that her safety was not at risk. After calling the police arrived at her house. After arriving, the police knocked at the door. There was two gentlemen, two policemen, two non-like-me policemen. Okay, we're trying to avoid those words. Non-like-me, or two W policemen arrived at the house. They knocked at the door, tum 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 tum, and please understand me. Africans do special effect when they speak. Tum 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 tum, or knock knock knock, or caw caw caw. Anyway, they knocked at the door, asking for her to come. She took some time. By the time she opened the door, the police asked him this question: "Why did you take so long to open the door?" So she said, "Well, I was busy trying to fix a couple of things and dress myself up appropriately before I came outside." And the police looked very much irritated. Then he said, "Okay, are you okay?" Meaning, are you okay in the head? She said, "I'm okay. I took my medication." Meaning, she takes her medication from time to time to settle down. They walked inside the house. As they got inside the house, the police started doing some very light investigation, asking questions. Then it became some deep question. What is your name? What is your surname? When they asked her, what is your surname? She took some time to respond. She was like, a little bit confused. Certainly because she was intimidated. Number two, because she was very uncomfortable. There are two strangers in the house, even though they are policemen, coming with a very forefront, like, why do you take so long to open the door? Well, that's what you're supposed to do as a policeman. You're supposed to wait. You're a servant of the public. Anyway, let's continue. When they asked her, what is your surname? She took some time to respond. The policeman said, why are you taking so long to respond? To tell me what your surname is. Then they asked her, what is that on the other side? On the other side, on the stove, you could see a boiling pot. The boiling pot was composed of water. It was just water boiling. So they asked her to go and switch it off. She stood up on her way to switch off the pot. As she arrived next to the pot, the same policeman said to her, move from the pot. So she said to him, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Like, why are you talking to me this way? You're supposed to be a policeman. You're supposed to be kind. You're supposed to be nice. And the response of the policeman was, well, I will F you in the face in the F name of God. And she crouched like, no, I'm sorry. And he went, pew, 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 pew. I can't even make the real sound because it's crazy. She fell on the ground. As she fell on the ground, he took his radio and said, shot fired, shot fired. You could hear somebody on the other side asking, what's happened? He said, she came to me with a boiling pot. Now, if you look at the camera, and we're not going to put the videos here, you can go check the videos. If you look at the camera, this man that pew, 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 pewed did not have his body camera on. Now, remember in America, every police is supposed to have his body camera on to see what's happening. His body camera was off. Surprisingly, while his colleague's body camera was on. He said she was coming to me with a boiling pot, which was not true. She wasn't. She was petrified. She was scared. What happened next, his colleague said to him, I am going to the car to get my medicine box. I don't know what you call it technically. The medicine box is the box where you keep medicine stuff in case of emergency, so you can stop bleeding and stuff like that. The other guy said, I'm going to the car to get my medicine box. He say, oh, well, don't waste your time, bro. That was a killer shot, a killer shot. That was a killer shot. He said that. And the other guy stopped. Then he said, okay, I am going to get the medicine box. He's going to get his medicine box while his colleague stood with the victim. As he went, the camera continued to roll. Now remember, this time he switched his camera on and the recording was going in. And he was busy talking. He said, well, there was a crazy woman trying to come to me while he was speaking to somebody else. Crazy woman trying to attack me with boiling water. But yeah, she's not going to survive. What did he do? He took his time. Now, in the meantime, his colleague was calling him on the radio. We could hear his colleague on the radio saying, where are you? Where's the medicine box? You could hear that on the radio. And he was taking his time on the other side. He was just talking to himself, talking to people on the radio and passing for a victim. Then when he came back, obviously it was too late because, yeah, the way that thing went through the eye, then came out of the neck, it was just... So at the time, the colleague was calling him saying, where are you with the box? This woman was not yet. She was still alive. She was gasping for air. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, the guy took time before everything went on. Now, he has pleaded non-guilty. There are new findings about this person. The new findings say that he worked in the army for 2 years and was discharged for misconduct, meaning he's a very difficult human being and very bad behavior, and was discharged from the army. I mean, the army, especially the American army, needs personnel. Now, for the army to discharge you, what kind of a person you are? And on top of that, he had worked at 6 different police departments in the past, where he was dismissed for various reasons. Dismissed for misconduct, for driving under the influence, for arming other people, and many other things. Now, after being arrested, he's asked to be released on bail. They refused to let him out. Fellas, I think this is very necessary and very important we talk about this because these type of things only happen in America. I mean, let's just be honest with you. These type of things where B people are subjected to this type of treatment by W people, and we need to call it the way it is because that's what it is. I doubt that if that woman was W, she would have been subjected to this. They would have called the ambulance, called a psychologist, call a specialist, a neurologist, or whatever gist to find a solution for her. But because she was B, I'm sorry, they had to find an excuse. Look, why do you feel threatened by a woman? I'm sorry. Why do you feel threatened by a woman with the boiling water? Even if she really had the boiling water coming to you. There's no reason why you would do that. You could duck. You could pew the leg. You could cover yourself with something. You could run away. I'm sorry, but we've seen videos where it was them dealing with another W person who was actually very violent with a knife running toward them. They will not pew him. They will run away from the guy. Look, I really don't care. We are in Africa. We see things. We have no position. Okay? And I'm going to be honest with you. What is right is right. What is wrong is wrong. The bottom line is we're not the only people to see this. People that have eyes and literal brains can tell what's happening in America. B people have no value. They don't value B people. They don't. They see you like animals. You are treated like animals. I'd rather 28 times go live in Moscow or live in Czechoslovakia, I don't know if it still exists, than go live in America. I will not go live in America. There's no reason for me. Why? Never. I would never do that. I mean, no. The chances are for me to be taken away are way too many. And it's crazy. How can a person who's been in the army, the guy looks very tall, he's about easy 6'3", 4 or something. Easy 6'5". All right, he's not a small guy, he's a big guy, 160 some. Okay, 6'5" is about 195 centimeters. For those of us who speak real mathematics. Anyway, it's very sad to see that. And I'm telling you, this is the why. I mean, do you understand why the world needs Russia? The world needs Russia because there need to be a balance. Because Americans have been fighting for the freedom for the longest time. They're not free. I'm sorry to tell you that. Justice in America, up until now, the majority of people in prison in America are B people. Why? Because B people. Why? Because it's part of the system. Number 2, prisons in America are businesses. Our prison businesses. Because in America, companies that needs working force, can hire people from prison. People from prison are much cheaper than normal people. So the more people you have in prison, the more potential workers you have that you can pay $1 a day instead of paying real money to people. It's necessary for big companies to have as much people in prison as possible. I'm sorry, that's not the subject, but that's the reality of America. Prisons are business. Prisons in some countries in Europe are made to recycle people, to help them get back to society, to help them mentally. Prisons in America are businesses. They are properties of private companies. They are run by private companies. Let's get back to track. This woman didn't deserve this. I bet you if she was in Russia, she probably would have survived. Who disagree? The bottom line is this. Western nations don't like you very much. I'm just going to be very honest with you. If you want to know the truth, just look into history. Somebody respectful said, if you want to know what somebody's going to do in the future, just check what they've done in the past. I mean, 400 years of slavery. How many years of colonialism? Neo-colonialism. You remember at the time when people were going through difficulties in Africa. South Africa was still run by an apartheid government before 1994. The bottom line is, you are not considered as real people. I'm sorry, somebody has to say it. They can act all weird, all sad. The majority of people are acting sad today because there is a camera. That's telling a very sad story. There's no way to turn around this. But if there were no cameras, you would have never heard about this story. Now, this story, you hear about it and an outcry because the evidence is talking. That woman did absolutely nothing. She was not a threat. Even with both them hands, they could have, if she was a threat in any way, even I can stop her. Even my little nephew could have stopped that woman. But the reason why they're speaking about it is they're trying to make you feel like, okay, we feel for you. Oh, this should not be allowed. But the bottom line is this happens every single day in America. This happens every single day in America. She called for help. They came to her house. They knocked very abruptly and asked her, why did you take long to open the door? She explained, I was trying to put myself together. They asked her for a document, an ID in your own house. Show me your ID. Dude, you don't come to my house and ask me for my ID. For what? I called you. Well, if you want my ID, check who called you. I mean, what is this? What is your surname? Obviously, she feels intimidated. You're two males, two men, tall, strong, pressing. Doesn't know how to speak. She doesn't feel okay. I don't know if she has underlying conditions or anything like that. Intimidating her. Then they unalived her. And they're trying to act like, well, a crazy woman. How many times you can imagine if there were no camera? How many times have they told stories about a crazy woman or a crazy man who was trying to intimidate me? And that's the reason why I defended myself. Let me know how you feel about this. It's very sad. And this person should be condemned at the highest level. And for me, I believe the best way to reprimand such behavior is to make them pay. If somebody takes somebody away, you must take him away. Because when you take him away, then you prevent other people from continuously doing the same thing. Because if you send him to jail for a couple of years, then other people are not discouraged to do the same thing. That's a mother of two whose children are going to live forever without a mother. They didn't deserve that. God bless.